What's up, Colliders? Welcome back to another episode here of Worlds Collide. I am the kid JW. This is Miss Diva Talk.
What's up, y'all?
We are back again with another episode here. This time a little bit different. We're talking about some homes. And because we both like nice houses, right?
Who doesn't like a nice house?
Exactly. We both love our hometown. Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah, for the most part. So this video here is going back in time, way back, from this house. That's the name of the channel. Millionaire's Row in Detroit. Very interesting. I'm kind of curious, aren't you?
I didn't even know we had a Millionaire Row.
Hey, we both about to learn today. So let's go ahead and dive on into this video here, back in time.
Detroit once boasted some of the most expensive homes in the United States. So what happened? Hi everyone, Ken here. Welcome to This House. Today we are exploring Millionaire's Row in Detroit's Brush Park neighborhood. We are getting so close to 100,000 subscribers. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already to help us achieve this monumental milestone. In the mid-1800s, Detroit was seeing an economic boom. Construction of new homes and buildings was a daily occurrence as the densely populated city began to rapidly expand. What were once considered the suburbs were becoming increasingly urban with every new build, so the wealthy residents sought larger lots where they could spread out and enjoy quiet streets with clean air. That's when Edmund Brush, the son of Detroit's second mayor, had an idea. His father had purchased a long, narrow tract of land in 1806 to use as the family farm. But now, in the 1850s, their once remote farm was now at the edge of the ever-expanding city. Edmund began planning out a neighborhood, but not just any neighborhood. It would boast large lots along wide avenues that were lined with elm trees, and only large, ornate mansions would be allowed to be built. His idea was an instant success, and Detroit's wealthiest residents quickly bought up and developed the lots. Architects and craftsmen arrived by the dozens, some considered to be the finest in the world, to create masterpieces in an ideal setting. By the 1880s, the neighborhood of Brush Park had gained the nickname, the Little Paris of the Midwest, and for good reason. Not only were there elaborate mansions, but religious buildings started popping up, such as Temple Bethel, designed from solid stone blocks with imposing architecture, demanding a sense of permanence. Nearby, the First Presbyterian Church towered overhead, with its Romanesque proportions dwarfing the human scale. But regardless of one's faith, every child in the neighborhood attended the same school, the prestigious Irving Elementary School. Brush Park was now a thriving, upscale neighborhood with some of the most desirable addresses in the entire world. Taking a walk down Alfred Street, you would have seen some of the most beautiful homes to have ever been built, such as the architecturally flamboyant George Jerome House, which had been built in the Beaux-Arts style with Eastlake influences across its limestone facade.
This goes back to the saying, where's your house? You cannot miss it. But what I would say is, I wish some of these houses were still around, though.
Well, given the area, some of them are, a lot of them aren't. Because I thought that it was going to talk about, because he keeps referencing Brush Park. But now that I think about it, where I was thinking was Detroit Edison. That's the area I thought he was going to talk about. Because that area has some very beautiful big homes that kind of resemble these.
Narrow streets, though. Definitely narrow streets.
I mean, a little bit, not like that.
Right.
But I didn't think he was talking about these.
Oh, not the Brush Park.
Right, no.
Following the wrought iron fence down the perfectly manicured lawns, next door was James Campbell's house, a stately home which appeared almost understated between the neighboring homes. As you continue down the street, not only did the homes become larger, but the lots they sat on did as well, such as the home of one of the nation's most powerful attorneys at the time, Elisha Taylor, whose Gothic Revival-style mansion sat on a double lot. In his later years, Elisha was known to dress in a tuxedo with a top hat and wander the streets, at which point the neighborhood children would escort him back home. The neighborhood was a melting pot of contemporary architecture, with each of the 300-plus mansions looking entirely unique. At the Albert Eugene Fay White House, we can see a horse tied to a hitching post outside a stately Italianate residence on a corner lot, a location which he would have paid a premium for. One of the residents of Brush Park was Russell McLaughlin, who grew up attending Irving Elementary during the peak of the neighborhood. Later in his life, he wrote about the neighborhood's golden years. On a summer's evening, there was no front porch unoccupied. The front porch brought all these neighbors into a single, close-knit community, as if one pleasant sitting room had stretched, quite unobstructed, for a quarter mile. In addition to Russell's description, before the days of ice cream trucks, a man known as D. Peters would sing in the streets as his pony carted around a popcorn wagon. The neighborhood children would hear him singing and come running out from their houses,
original
penny in
ice cream
hand,
man.
to buy a bag of popcorn. Life seemed to be
Popcorn
perfect
man
in
is
Brush
his.
Park, the kind of neighborhood everyone dreams of living in, but few can ever afford. So what happened? At the turn of the century, automobiles were quickly replacing the days of horse-drawn carriages and allowed people to live further away from city centers. What was once a full day's trip recently became a morning commute. Wealthy residents moved further out, purchased larger lots, and built even larger, more modern homes, one by one abandoning the neighborhood. The once grand mansions were now viewed as outdated, as many of them did not have electricity and were costly to maintain, so no buyers could be found. By 1920, every single house along Alfred Street had been converted into a boarding house, where factory workers could cheaply rent a room while they established a new life in Detroit. By the 1950s, most of the homes had started to fall apart, with many of them having boarded up windows and leaky roofs. One by one, houses were torn down for safety reasons and paved over to create parking lots for nearby factories. Many of the houses that did survive throughout the years ended up being torn down for the construction of the Fisher Freeway and the Woodward widening. The once great Christian churches had burned down, and the grand Jewish temples had been defaced. The only homes that were left were mere husks, rotting away with only memories of former glory slipping as they caved in on themselves. Brush Park was now a desolate wasteland, ridden with criminal activity, the kind of place that no reasonable person would ever voluntarily travel to.
Now. It wasn't that bad.
Different time period.
Right.
Yes, it was.
In 2005, the city of Detroit stepped up to save what was left of the dwindling neighborhood. They stabilized many of the remaining abandoned houses. Following the stabilization, a $70 million development was announced to revitalize the area with new housing and amenities. Since then, there has been a renewed interest in restoring the remaining homes of Brush Park, such as the Ransom Gillis House, one of the most extreme restoration projects to be seen in Detroit, when Nicole Curtis televised her restoration process on the TV show Rehab Addict. Her actions have since inspired several other people to purchase and restore abandoned homes in Brush Park. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a resurgence for the neighborhood, as a new community strives to preserve what is left for future generations. Do you think it is possible to turn Brush Park around and recapture the once thriving neighborhood, or do you think it is too far gone? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you...
I mean, it's always possible because I actually filmed a commercial for a company that I used to work for back in the day.
What?
Yep, in one of those houses, and it was redone to where, I mean, because the houses were so big that they redid it to where it was now apartments.
Okay.
So we went to an upstairs apartment that they had made, and it was actually pretty spacious, given the fact that it used to be a house, and it had like 4 or 5 units in it.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a fan of big houses, especially the old school big houses. Obviously in this modern era, it's not really cost efficient to buy one because they have no central air.
No central air, radiator heating.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the nicer things in life. It's a nice house.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
It's
They're
just
absolutely
hard to
beautiful.
upgrade and still try mounting a TV on actual sheetrock. Um, but it's actually great too because you realize that a lot of those houses, especially along Woodward, uh, I don't know if you've seen the old photos of Woodward and whatnot, but it's like when you look at it, it went from being a regular size street like this
Yep.
to like boom size street,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just crazy if you tear down for progress and whatnot. But You want to go take us on out of here? Or you got any final thoughts on this?
No, I said my final thoughts.
Oh, all right. Want to take us out?
As always, Colliders, if you enjoyed this reaction, go ahead and hit the like button, share with someone you think would like it as well. If you want to check out this YouTuber's YouTube channel or this video for yourself, the links, of course, will be in the description below, along with where you can find me and Official JW on our own YouTube platforms. Bye, y'all.
Later.